Okay. So today's math, we're doing a few review or reteach pages from the 12.3 lesson that we started yesterday. Because we just started it, I want us to dig a little bit deeper into it. I think you guys are doing really well, and you seem to understand it. But I also thought this was kind of a fun one because it's a math and science activity. We get to talk a little bit more about science mixed into our math. So, guys, please do not speak out. You know the rules. Especially not when I'm speaking to you, because I don't speak over you when you're speaking to me, right? What did we just talk about? Treating others as we want to be treated. Exactly. We want to be conscientious, polite. Chloe Schmidt. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, so today we're looking at, first they give us a little definition of a paleontologist. A paleontologist, it says, did you know a scientist who studies fossils and researches the history of life on Earth is a paleontologist? The research involves the study of how life forms have evolved or changed over long periods of time. And then we've got a little picture right here that kind of looks a little bit like Bob. Right there. Right there. Let me write that. Bob. So now we're looking at something a little bit different, but I promise you it'll make sense once you start looking at it. Okay. Grid mapping is a way of dividing an area of land into equal parts. Dividing an area of land into equal parts. Sounds like they're making fractions, right? Dividing an area into equal parts. Paleontologists use grid mapping to record the location of bones. Below are two grid maps used for different fossil dig sites. Now, if you guys have ever watched any shows where people are digging up fossils, or on the other side, there are also archaeologists who dig up antiquities and things like that related to human history, you'll see that they put ropes out. They make a grid, an actual grid on the ground with different in their different dig sites. So this one we've got fossil dig site X and fossil dig site Y. You're going to need this information. On your side, I don't know how well the shading turned out. I don't think it did. So you're probably going to want to go ahead and mark these A, B, and C. And it looks like, to me, it looks like they are the only shaded ones that I can see. And let me go ahead and scroll up a bit as well, or down. Here we go. Bring those up to the top. So, now, first question. Oh, Heston, question. Yes, go ahead. First question is, for fossil dig site X, parts A, B, and C represent what fraction of the whole? Parts A, B, and C represent one fraction of the whole. So dig site X, parts A, B, and C, what fraction of the whole? And remember when it says explain? What does it mean when it says explain, guys? What do I want to see, Madeline? I do want to see you restate. That's absolutely correct. And I want to see caps too, right? So I want to see capitalization, accuracy, punctuation, spelling, which means a complete sentence. And yes, I do. I want to see you use race as well. Restate, answer, cite, and explain. Restate, answer, cite, and explain. The restatement part and the answer part, of course, are very important here. You will be citing some evidence because you're going to say, well, you're going to answer the question. You're going to tell me why you've got the answer, right? So, Ariana, what is our answer here? Say it again. You forgot what you were going to say? Abigail, question. I'm sorry? Okay. Madeline. Uh-huh. 3 out of how many?
5.
Are you sure?
3/5.
Are you sure it's 3/5? Are there only 5 spots there? Double check. You're right about the 3. 8. 8. She's right. 3 out of 8. And did you hear that she restated as well? She said the fraction that I'm going to have to erase that. There we go. That was just too messy. That represents the fraction that represents the well, how about we say the fraction that represents not the partial, excuse me. Can't even talk today. The fraction that represents parts A, B, and C at dig site X is 3/8. Now, it's okay if your sentence isn't exactly that. You do not need to copy that. If you have something else, keep it as long as you've got the right answer. And just remember, when it says explain on a worksheet like this, I do want to see a written answer, complete sentence, okay? But yes, the fraction that represents parts A, B, and C at dig site X is 3/8. And why do we have that? Because 3 of them are highlighted out of 8. 8 is the whole. The whole site has 8 spots, right? Make sense? Okay, so you're going to do the same thing for dig site Y, parts A, B, and C. Also explain. And then down here at the bottom, it says, Samantha says that in fossil dig site X, the fraction of parts not shaded is 5/5. Do you agree? Explain. Explain. And you're going to answer that one as well. So I'm going to give you guys let's have you guys take about, because we've got 2 other worksheets I want to work on as well, but I want to go over this one. Let's have you guys do this for how about 5 minutes? What do you think? Sound fair?
Really?
You think you can answer these 2 in 5, or do you need 10?
At least
10 minutes?
Give us 8.
2? Well, I'm going to have to do an average. 30 seconds? No. I don't think anybody's can write these sentences in 30 seconds.
1 hour.
How about 7 minutes?
No. 8 minutes. Wait, no. Yeah. An hour. 4 minutes. Yeah. Till lunchtime.
You went down from, no. Okay, 7 minutes. Let's go. Everybody make sure you're on the paleontologist page. We're going to go over this one. So guys, again, don't get stuck on how I wrote my sentence. You can still restate it, and you can write it in a different way as well, as long as it's a complete sentence. But look, the second one is the exact same thing that we did with the first one, right? Let me pull this up. Let me just make it a little bit smaller so we can see more, I think. Let's see. Because I don't want to cross over too much of it. Okay, so, guys, at fossil dig site X for the first one, it asked us, and this is my version of shading, okay? At fossil dig site X, in the first one, they asked us, what was the fraction for the shaded part? And we got 3/8, right? Because there were 3 out of 8 shaded. The second one, what does the second question say? What does the second question say? Ariana? Yes. So for the second one, we're doing the same thing. Now we're just looking at fossil dig site Y, A, B, and C are still shaded, but there aren't 8 parts now. How many parts are there? Chloe Schmidt. What's the sentence that you put?
The fraction that represents parts A, B, and C at dig site Y is 3 out of 6.
That is correct. 3/6. Exactly. Now, if you wanted to be simpler, you could just write, and I will accept it as long as it's a complete sentence, the fraction at dig site Y. Look, I wrote a 3 as an S, guys, because the 3 is on my mind. Let's fix that. Is 3/6. 3/6. And can you guys see why it's 3/6? Sellers.
There's 3 shaded, he's not. Also, can I do it last time?
Yes. Just give me 1 second and we'll get to that one. He's correct. It's because there are 6 parts of the whole and only 3 of them are shaded. So don't get stuck on that one. It's the exact same thing. Do you guys see that? So dig site Y has the same numerator, the 3 on the top, right? 3 parts are shaded, but a different denominator because there were 6 parts in the grid, whereas in dig site X, there were 8 parts in the grid, right? Okay, now in this one, Samantha says that in fossil dig site X, the fraction of the parts not shaded is 5/5. Do you agree? Explain. Sellers.
No, I do not agree because dig site X is 3 out of 8 and 5 out of 8 not shaded in.
Good. Exactly. Did anybody else get that? Who else got that one? Madeline? Good. Who did not get that one? Couple people? Was that one confusing? Okay. Take a look though. Keep in mind it says not shaded. Now, she counted that there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts that were not shaded. So she mistakenly said that the fraction of the parts not shaded is 5/5, right? But it's not 5/5 because the whole isn't 5. The whole is 8 parts. So it has to be 5/8 for the not shaded part, right? So the seller said, no, I do not agree because 3/8 are shaded and 5/8 are not shaded. Make sense? Thumbs up if that makes sense. Abigail, question. Good. That works as well. That works as well. Because there are 8 total squares, not 5. Madeline.
I don't agree because if you take away the shaded part, it would be 8 times 8.
That is correct. That's another way of saying it. See, you guys said the same things. You all got the answers correct, and you said them differently and still used complete sentences. So that is exactly what I'm looking for. And Madeline is correct. This would be 8 out of 8 if everything wasn't shaded. Because obviously the 5 unshaded parts and the 3 shaded together, 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 out of 8, right? Okay, so now go ahead and flip to the next one. We'll talk about this one really quickly, and then I'll give you a little bit of time to work on it. This next one is a Reteach worksheet from 12.3. This is the same stuff we were doing yesterday. Same things we were doing yesterday. Okay, make sure you flip over to the next page. Everybody should be on this page right here, the one that says Reteach at the top. 12.3. First thing, I know a couple of you guys got stuck on this one. Don't get fooled. Remember, it says, first one says, and I'll go over this one with you first. This is the vocabulary section, so what they're wanting you to remember is what a fraction is, right? A fraction is naming a part of a whole or a location on a number line, right? In this case, it's naming a part of a whole or a location on a number line. In this case, we're looking at a part of a whole. How many equal parts are in the whole shape? How many equal parts in the whole shape, Brewer? 3. Ian, what's a fraction for 1 equal part of the whole?
1 out of 3.
1 out of 3. Or 1/3. Same way, same thing. Right? Does that one make sense, guys? Flip over to the next page, and then I'll give you guys a little more time. Now, there are a couple different parts on this one. This is the parts of a whole. I think you guys are going to find this a lot easier because of what we did yesterday. What part of the fraction is shaded on the top one? What part of the fraction is shaded on this top one, guys? Just by looking at it. Heston? How many? 2. 2 out of how many? 2 out of 3, 2/3. What part of the fraction is not shaded? What part of the fraction is not shaded? I see some hands coming up. Nick? 1, 1. Not 1, 1. 1 out of how many parts total? Are there 2 here or 3? 1 out of 3. 1/3. Always look for the whole. Always count the whole. You're still counting the whole no matter what, if we're looking for shaded or unshaded. What part of the fraction is shaded? What part of the fraction is unshaded? And you were doing that for the entire thing. Now, down at the bottom, though, don't get fooled if it looks a little bit uneven. These are equal parts. It just looks a little weird because of the spinner in the middle, I think. They're asking you what fraction of the spinner is blue, what fraction of the spinner is red, what fraction of the spinner is green or black, and what fraction of the spinner is not blue. Make sure you're reading these carefully. Not blue. Okay? Does that one make sense? No? I think once you get to it, it will. But we'll walk around. And also, I will go over these. We will go over them together. We'll make sure you guys get those answers. We'll go over them together. But we will do that in about, I want to give you guys a little bit more time since it's 2 worksheets. So let's go until about 9:25. 9:25. Briggs, question. Down here? This part? Yep, there you go. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, I'm going to pull back up to this one. Okay, so we will go until about 9:25. Also, keep in mind that when we come around to answer questions, I really want to make sure that you guys are reading through these first and attempting them before you ask us for help, okay? I want you to read them thoroughly, read the problems thoroughly and the instructions, and then attempt them. Do not be afraid to get something wrong. That is okay. We can always fix it. That's how you learn. Okay? Let's go. Okay, so everyone, class. You should be back on this page, that Reteach page. That is 12:3 up at the top, because I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, both literally and figuratively. Okay, so next one says, now, I said this to multiple of you, so I want to make sure you guys are paying attention. Do not get distracted by the door. Everybody should be looking in this direction or looking down at this page right here, okay? It says, look at the fractional parts to find out how many parts make a whole. First thing. But I've told multiple of you, you should always, and we talk about this, guys. When I say read the question fully, it means read the question fully. So what I mean is you need to read the entire thing. Number 2 didn't stop right here. You're not doing each one of these as individual problems. This entire thing is one problem, which means you need to read the whole thing to understand it, right? But there's another hint. There are 3 parts here, correct? You guys see 3 parts there? But what does the fraction say? What does the fraction say, Ariana? What does the fraction say? What is it? Well, what does it say on top of each part? 1/4. So guys, with the denominator, which is 4, what does the denominator stand for? Briggs. We're on number 2. But I'm asking you in general, what does the denominator stand for? The number on the bottom. It stands for the bottom number in a fraction. That is correct. But what does it mean? What does it mean, Heston? Say it again. It should be the bigger number. Ideally, in a proper fraction, it should be the bigger number. Sellers?
It's the it's all of it in it's the length, the area.
It's all parts of the whole. All parts of the whole, right? So if there are only 3 parts there, but it says 1/4, are we missing something? Are we missing something? Ariana? We're missing a part, aren't we? But guess what? If you guys had read the entire thing, it says right here, I want you guys to scroll down on your paper. Look down on your paper. What does it say right here, guys? Jack? Exactly. Draw another copy of 1/4 to make whole. Now, if you guys had read the whole thing and you saw that, would that have made your lives a lot easier? Yeah. It would have, because then you would have remembered that the denominator means that there should be 4 parts. If there's a 4 on the bottom of that means there are 4 parts. There are 4 parts. Okay? So then you could go back up and you could say, okay, this makes more sense. The figure shows 3/4 or 3/4, right? 3/4 of the length of a stick. Each part is 1/4. Right? 3/4 is how many copies of 1/4? 3/4 is how many copies of 1/4? Madeline? 3 copies. Exactly. Because 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, right? Now, there are blank equal parts that make a whole. How many parts make a whole here? How many parts make a whole here, guys? Chloe Brewer. How many parts make a whole? How many parts do we have there? 4. There are 4 equal parts that make a whole here. But you guys should know that automatically because the denominator is 4. If the bottom number is 4, that means there are 4 equal parts that make up that whole. That's your hint right there. That's what it shows you. So it says 4 copies of blank make 4/4 or 1 whole. So how many copies of, well, what could you break 4/4 into? Ariana. Four copies of 1/4 makes 4/4 or what? 1 whole. So remember what I've been telling you guys, if ever you see the numerator and the denominator look the same, if they're the same number, that is 1 whole. That's 1 whole. So this should have also given you a hint that you were missing a part there and that there should be 4 parts, right? 4 parts. Does this make a little bit more sense? And you guys see why I say to read the entire thing? Now what about this one? It's the same thing. That's the whole thing. That's the whole problem. So you need to look at the whole problem. Make sure you're reading the whole problem. Look at the whole thing. It says, the denominator of the fraction tells you how many lengths you need to make a whole. Now this goes back to what Seller said. He said the parts in a region are the parts of a line. In this case, we're looking at the lengths of a line, but it's the same thing as looking at the parts of a shape or a region, right? So this is how many lengths you need to make the whole. This is 4/5 of a diagram. 4/5 is blank lengths of 5. But it also says, if you look down, draw one more 1/5 to show the whole. Because if you count them, you only have 1, 2, 3, 4 fifths. So that can't work because you need another part right here, right? Another 1/5. Because if you only had 4 parts, then it would have been 1/4. But it says 1/5. The 5, the denominator, tells us we need to have 5 parts, right? So let's go back up. This is 4/5 of a diagram. 4/5 is blank lengths of 1/5. How many? How many? Guys, I have a lot of the same people answering questions. Who else has an answer here? Well, kids? 4/5 of a diagram. 4/5 is 5 lengths of 1/5. Is how many lengths of 1/5? 4/5 of the diagram. 4/5 is how many lengths of 1/5? 4. Exactly. That's exactly right. 4. Good. Blank lengths of 1/5 make 5/5 or blank whole. Remember, this is the same question as this one. It's the same question as that one. How many lengths? Sellers?
5. 1 whole.
5 lengths of 1/5 make 5/5 or 1 whole. Does it make sense, guys? A little bit more sense? A little bit more? Good. I'm seeing some thumbs. It's okay if it doesn't. We will get there. But, guys, I promise you, I'm not telling you to read the directions or try the problems because I want to watch you fail or because I want to torture you. No, I want to make your lives easier. I'm telling you to read the instructions because they're there to help you. Good, that's honest. If you show me a sideways thumb and a thumb up, that means that you think you're going to get it. It's starting to make sense, right? That's good. 2 down is telling me it doesn't make sense at all. But I promise you, I am telling you how to make this easier. Read the entire problem every time and try it. Don't be afraid to get it wrong. It's okay to get it wrong. That's what I'm here for, is to tell you, no, try again. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. You learn from making mistakes, okay? Sellers, please stop speaking out. Okay. Now, it says on the back of this one, it says draw a picture. Now, you could do it on the back or you could do it right here on the page. It says draw a picture for 2/3, then finish the drawing and write a fraction to represent the whole. Did anybody get to that one? Anybody do that one? Good, Ariana, you did that one? Draw a picture for 2/3. Let's see, how did you do it? What kind of shape did you draw? Like a line drawing? Like a line, like a diagram or a line, number line? Like this one? Where you've got 3 different parts? Okay. And then what did you do? So you've got 3 parts. And then if you were to shade those 2, we would have 2/3, right? Would make up this one. And then for the entire thing, 3/3. 3/3 or 1 whole. Does that make sense, guys? Kinda? Madeline. It is 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, which equals 1 whole. 3/3, 1 whole. Exactly. Good. Okay, let's move on to that next one, parts of a whole. I think you guys understood this one a little more, and maybe we need a little more practice with this kind of thing. What part of the fraction is shaded? What part of the fraction is not shaded? I think a lot of you got tripped up a little on the second one. Ian.
1 out of 2 pieces is shaded. And
True.
1 out of 2 pieces is not.
Exactly. This is divided right in half, which means that both sides are 1/2. Both sides are 1/2. What about this next one, Wilkins?
6.
So we have 6 parts. It's not 6 fives. It's what? Nope. Nope. Remember the denominator. Denominator is the bigger one. The denominator is the number of the whole. Try it again. Who said that?
5/6.
Talon said 5/6. And he's correct. 5/6. Remember, the number of the whole is on the bottom. That's the denominator. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The number of the whole is always on the bottom. That's the denominator, always on the bottom. Okay? Now, but what part is not shaded? What part is not shaded? Talon. 1/6 is not shaded. Exactly. Okay, what about this one here, Nick? What part is shaded? Say it again. 1 out of how many? 1 out of 4, or 1/4. Exactly. Now, how many are unshaded? Aiden.
3 out of 4 disconnected. I struck my ankle. Just hit it on the length of the disc. It hurts so bad.
You can go see if Miss Michelle has one up at the front office. Yes, this is correct. 3/4 are unshaded. Now, what about this one? What about that one, Kylie?
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. 3 out of 4 parts, or 3/4, are shaded. How many parts are not shaded? Andrew? 1/4 is not shaded. So when you guys see these, they make a lot more sense. So I'm seeing where we are with this. Good. This is why we do these together, so I can see where you guys are and what we need to work on. Madeline, you can go, because I don't think there's another girl out. Yeah, go ahead. Let's look at that bottom one, though, because this is another one where it's really important to read. Okay. Let's look at the spinner. We've got blue, red, green, blue, and black. So, guys, this is another one of those areas you have to pay close attention. Read things thoroughly. Don't rush through it. What fraction of the spinner is blue? Sellers?
2 of 5.
2/5. Did everybody get 2/5?
Yeah.
Thumbs up, I hope so. I saw a few people writing 1 on there because I think you didn't see that there were 2 blues. But that's exactly right. Now, what fraction of the spinner is red? Kylie? 1 out of 5. 1/5. What fraction of the spinner is green or black? Green or black. It's kind of a trick one, right? Allie? So green and black together would certainly be 2/5. So I would accept either 2/5 or 1/5 and 1/5, right? But 2/5 works because we're talking about green and black. See, now technically they said green or black. but I would accept 2/5 as green and black, okay? What fraction of the spinner is not blue? Teva. Say it again, 3? You said 3 out of 5? 3/5? Yes. 3/5, right? Because red, green, and black make up 3. Blue makes up 2. We have 5 parts. Exactly. See, you guys get this? I think it just helps to see the pictures and see the shaded parts, correct? A little bit easier that way? Okay. Good. Does anybody have any other questions on our math work for today before we move on? No? Feeling pretty good right now? Thumbs up? Sideways thumbs if you're getting there, right? Okay, good, good. We're getting there. We're getting there.